This is 10 Minutes to Inspire.
Welcome, Paolo Pio.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is Tech.Emotion, 10 Minutes to Inspire.
I can't wait.
So, if you had to tell me what is the emotion that drives you in life?
Well, as you know, I am very, very passionate about health, wellness, fitness, and longevity. And therefore, I look at life with optimism. So the emotion that inspires me is that one, is the one around optimism, is around positivity, is around helping others, leading by example, both in my personal life and let's say for fun, and as well as in my professional life. That's why we set up to have a mission-driven investment fund that is not just a regular venture capital firm. We set up Exceptional Ventures in 2022 in London as a VC to back founders, helping people live healthier, happier, and longer lives. But that's exactly the purpose. We want to use capital to improve humans' joy span, help people live not just longer lives, but also healthier and with more joy. What French describe as joie de vivre.
I like that very much, and I also know that you decided to put a trademark on joy span. And this is something very special to some extent. How can you share this idea with us?
Well, yes, and it's I guess how do you trademark joy? How do you put a trademark on that? Well, you can't, but we really were peculiar in defining our investment thesis and our mission that would not just be around longevity and helping people live longer lives, but it would be about helping people live more joyful in their later years of life. So in this industry, which is the one that covers technology at the intersection of health, that's where our startup operates. That's where we invest in early stage companies at the intersection of health and technology. The definition of, let's say, longer lives, it's defined as lifespan, right? So people have been living longer lives. The duration of life has been increasing from 70 to 80 to 90. Wonderful. But what is the point of adding years to life if you don't add life to the years? Hence, in the last 20 years or 30 years of your life, you don't want to be weak, frail, you fall, you break something, you can't do what you used to do when you were young. You want to be healthy, you want to be vital. Hence came the concept of health span, right? And how do we make the last decades or two of our life healthy? So from lifespan to health span. You can do a lot of things in order to live healthier and longer. You can, for example, like Brian Johnson advocates, go to bed every night at the same time, 8:30 p.m., have your last meal at 11 a.m. That's what he does, to have a perfect Oura Ring score, right? You can do that. You can avoid wine, you can avoid alcohol, you can avoid sugar. You live longer, you live healthier. It's
not necessarily more joyful.
100%. Hence, what we advocate is around understanding what is joy for you, what makes you enjoy life. And in my case can be, even if it goes at detriment of a longer one. In my case, it can be, for example, I love sports, I love mountaineering, I love motorcycles, a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and that doesn't help me with living a longer life, right? But that makes my life worth living, indeed. For someone else can be a glass of wine, for someone else can be, some cake, some pandoro.
So basically, this one, it's very inspiring. At the same time, if you had to think about somebody who inspired you, someone or something or an experience that inspired you to follow this idea?
Well, I loved a podcast that I listened to a few months ago from a gentleman named Alan Patrikoff. He's now 90. He founded his third business at 85. He founded his very first business in the 70s called Alan Patrikoff Associates, an investment firm that through the years became a $70 billion under management. Now, he enjoys early stage investing, not late stage. So in the early 2000s, at the age of 70, he went out and founded a new investment firm called Greycroft, specialized in media. And that way he could go back and invest in small companies. 20 years later, that's also a huge firm. He lives again at 85 and founds Primetime Partners, firm investing in primetime, in longevity, making people live longer. And what he says basically is that it doesn't matter in a way how old you are. He always went out and funded things even at 85. Who does that? He does, because he thinks, specifically because he thinks he's going to be able to live in great health, physical and mental, until 120, that at 85, he still has, 35 years to go and work on his business. Well, he also said it's incredible because he also said, once you hit 60, you are only halfway there. So for someone like me, I changed career late in my life. My previous career was in technology. I was in San Francisco. I was a programmer, and only 13 years into I was senior, right? So when I changed into venture capital, 7 years ago, I had to start again from scratch. How do you justify that? You can only justify that if you have a long-term vision, which is exactly what I have. So I want to build this firm, Exceptional Ventures, for the next 20 or 30 years. I want this to become a business that is known to be the health and wellness fund, right? I want the founders working in health and wellness saying, I want to work with Exceptional Ventures because those guys are specialists, because those guys have an incredible portfolio in the space.
And what is the failure or the greatest challenge that actually has had an impact on your life?
Incredibly enough, as people always say, turned out to be my, greatest success. But when leaving my previous firm, that was a very difficult moment for me. When I left the previous fund, I used to work for an American fund called Joyance Partners. The way I left was very, very, very painful. And I had to take executive coaching for 10 months to learn better negotiation techniques because I realized I was too nice. I left too much on the table. And that really helped me. And I suffered a lot during those months. I lost sleep and stuff. But then that helped me to meet my co-founder, Matt, right? My now co-founder, Matt, in 2021. And we really got along. We had common values, principles, interests, passions. And from there, we decided to found Exceptional Ventures.
So your failure was a negotiating failure?
My failure was in the way the adventure at my previous firm ended, right?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It ended poorly, and it was unprecedented in my life, right? Because
it happens. That's it.
Well, I graduated well. I went abroad. I was successful in my previous career. I did an MBA. I won an award at the MBA, for better finance students, coming from a technology background. So I managed to change into venture capital, which is such a difficult industry, yada, yada, yada. So
a failure sometimes had an impact also.
Of course. Yeah, psychological and thinking, Jesus, am I not good enough? Well, how did that happen? How could I not see that coming? How could it happen to me? And then,
as of today, you invest in an ecosystem of firms that work on the well-being, let's say, right? Of
Indeed.
Human beings.
Yep.
Is that your way of having an impact on society?
By all means. And I think that's super important to use, in a way, capital as a force for good. And I strongly believe that if you want to have a big impact, you also need to have big financial returns. I wish I said that on stage, right? I didn't. But that's fundamental. But I also think that if you value excellence, hard work, if you value pursuing your mission with passion and dedication, financial outcome is an inevitability, right? Money will follow.
So sometimes we ask the question, are you doing profit with purpose or are you doing purpose with profit?
So in our case, we think you can have, in a way, only our mission. And our mission is to help people live longer, healthier, happier lives. Our mission is to improve joy span for people, right? That's our mission. Again, if you pursue it, as I mentioned, with the principle of integrity, ethics, really adding value to your founders, to your LPs, the success is an inevitable outcome, right? You will be successful. Nobody has impact operating small and keeping things in a small ecosystem.
And you have impact believing in believers.
That's exactly our tagline, as I know you enjoy, and so do I. We started saying we are exceptional ventures, we believe in believers. We're the first one to found the founders when they were the first one to believe in founders at the very beginning, to give them capital and support and network when they're starting from scratch, right? And then help them grow, help them become, ideally incredibly successful unicorn founders, have incredible impact. So we ourselves believe in believers, and so do the people that invest in our fund. We started from scratch, and we have more than 100 investors in our fund one that backed us on the basis of our vision and who we were as people.
So thank you very much for sharing these experiences with us and letting know outside of this podcast that there can be a place, if somebody's a true believer who wants to have an impact in society, there might be a place where to go to.
100%. They can come and reach out at, Paolo Pio, find me on LinkedIn. And I hope to be back here next year and meet as many as you as possible at Tech.Emotion. Thank you for what you guys are doing for the Italian Milanese ecosystem. I will really endeavor to bring our international network more and more over here and understand the beauty of our country and the symphony of the ecosystems that you guys are creating.
Thank you, Paolo Pio, for being with us today.
My pleasure.
This was Tech.Emotion, 10 Minutes to Inspire.